it doesn't matter locals or non-locals. So you are going to have a challenge.
No matter what, they will take shortcuts. So you don't want them to take that shortcut.
So they are not actually embracing this technology or advancement. Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of The Blueprint by Champions. Today's episode, we are going to discuss about something related to the changing landscape of supervision. Joining me and Khairul today in this episode is none other than Amriq Ali, who's pretty well known in the industry, especially about changes related to, technology, AI, and etc. Welcome on board, Amriq.
Yeah, thank you very much, Shah, and thank you, Khairul, for having me
Thank you for
today.
your presence.
You have an amazing setup, by the way. So very happy to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you for your presence here. Sincerely appreciate this.
Thanks, Khairul. Thanks for having me here.
Okay, Amriq, I think you are definitely the best guy, when we speak about the changing landscape of supervision. Because, recently we did a seminar and then you were one of those speakers on board. And then you spoke a lot about AI, you spoke a lot about technology. I think you may not have realized, but a lot of them actually came up to me after which, and they told me that, who's this guy? He's speaking about AI and technology, and the slides were so enriching. So why your interest in the changing landscape, in supervision?
Thanks again for having me to speak
Yeah.
at the seminar and conference. I do enjoy it. It's an opportunity to showcase things that I would like other people to kind of follow. So I'm very happy to share that information. But a lot of people are kind of resistive to change. It's a normal thing. It's human behavior. But why I started looking into it is because I kind of like the whole technology thing. So out of work as well, I'm always trying to I always get the latest phone every single year that people think why I always do it. But it's always the thing, like to be involved in technology. So when AI started to make an appearance, it was something that I took my time to research and do. But every time I go back to using it at the work setting, maybe on a personal thing, you use it for image generation for fun. Then after that, you do it for something related to work. So I don't feel it's work. So maybe that's another reason why. And it's easier to adapt because even though, now I'm in my 40s now already, but it's something that I feel like we always need to start to learn.
You look 30s though.
Oh, thank you very much. I think because I just dyed my beard. Yeah, but it's important to try and change and to adapt. But as much as we try and bring it to our colleagues on the ground, they are very resistive. There's always two reasons. Either they themselves don't want to do it, or they cannot convince their management to do it. So I'm in a luckier spot because my company or my team is always, okay, let's do something different for a change. Yeah. So, and it's always because trying to make the workplace safer, better or healthier for the guys. And it's always that end goal. So then it gives you that drive to find initiatives and ideas.
Correct, yeah. I think Khairul, you are another person who is very much into changes. You like to innovate things. You like to make new things on sites. But you have always been telling me that there are a lot of resistance. Maybe you give some examples. The viewers might learn something from this.
When you introduce something new, it's very difficult for them to get out of the box and do it. They are very comfortable in doing it. They are very experienced. They call it that I get it right. I've been doing it for 10 years. I've been doing it so nicely, so rightly.
Why should I change?
So that is the key challenge, and to make them do the change.
Yeah. When we come to say, okay, we have our own mobile app, which is called the HSEF, where there is this corporate part where, clients can actually use the permit to work, toolbox meeting, all these functions. Even then, a lot of them on ground are resisting it. This app was created just a very simple app, not complicated like those high-end apps. But even then, we have resistance from the ground. Not only from the ground like supervisors level or PM level, but even from management. I believe you don't have this resistance because I can see that you are more into able to convince your management to implement all this technology. But how do we convince those otherwise?
I really believe the safety guys have to have another skill, which is actually being the salesman. So it's selling to it's not just your management. You can sell the idea to your management. Once your management gets the buy-in, your next step is actually getting the guys on the ground to follow through. I can actually share like, okay, so as much as the company I work for is big, it's supported and all that, we've had like the first quarter of the year, we've had a lot of accidents. Not serious, maybe near misses, incidents and all that happening. So we take everything very seriously. So when it came to a point, yes, the easiest answer to say is that, oh, we've got more jobs now, we've got more people. But if you really take a deep dive, it's not true. Some of the things are related to older workers or more senior workers. And then what we wanted to do, the initiative we started to do is actually starting to record toolbox meetings and safety briefings.
Okay.
There was a very low buy-in because they keep asking, why are you taking all these videos? What's the point of the videos? And then that's where I kind of married it a little bit with technology. And I did that merger so I need to, of course, tell them I'm recording, but there's also a reason behind recording it. I'm not going to be the one, or my team is not going to be the one seeing, let's say, 7-8 minute toolbox videos or 15 minutes risk management talks. So then you marry it together with technology, which was at that point in time I was using in between ChatGPT, a voice app, then you translate and then do. So that was like 3-4 step process. Technology changes so fast, and now I dump the whole video.
Fast.
Yeah, I can do batch editing. So 10 videos one time in Google Gemini, and it actually does the whole summary. So it can do a group summary, it can do a per video summary, and then from there something is missing, something is lagging or not. Okay. So the buy-in comes in when you actually go and present this to them. Hey, look, this is what you've been doing, and this is the benefit of what you've been doing. And then then you kind of get that switch turned on. Okay. So it does make sense. But you need to follow through.
Khairul, you had this experience actually. The management was very supportive. But then they said that I don't even get a double-digit observation per month because the culture was not there. The management was supportive, the ground was not being supportive, and then they had to implement this thing called incentives. Okay, you report, I give you money, I give you voucher, I give you. Is this the right way forward, Khairul? Especially when you are giving incentive, but the culture is not there.
They are being told to do more observation, more this and that. But they also have another thing called the workload. They are given excessive workload. Some of them handle 2-3 persons job, and then they have to give them timeline. They have deadline. So when they have this, they have to bring in another thing to do observation, putting in the app, raising the photos. This is going to consume a lot of time, a lot of effort, and they seem to realize that this is out of my scope. So this is where they totally will forego this thing. They will just classify, this is not my scope, this is not my job. I don't have to do this. Why do I have to go through this?
And then the culture dies from there.
It finishes off from there.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it comes back to the safety team. It comes back to them. Oh, management will ask them, why we implemented this app? There's no observations. There's no learning lesson. So then people start to introduce incentives. Okay, we bring in incentives so that we can bring in the culture to make them
start off the culture first.
So it's a starting point, and then they realize it.
Maybe Amriq, I know this is a little touchy, but do you think that the adaptation, the changing landscape, is due to having more non-locals on site, where we know sometimes they have this language barrier, sometimes they are less tech friendly and etc. Could it be due to that?
Okay, so I will be very honest, right? So whenever we want to introduce something or come something new, it doesn't just come because we think that it's a good idea, let's force it on the guys. It's also because there's a lot of conversation with these guys. So if you realize now, the workers we deal with, so earlier before we did the interview, I've done this for 19 years. So in 2006 when I started, the lifting supervisors you have on the grounds were generally locals or Malaysians.
Exactly.
And the way they control, I am still in awe how they manage to manage a site with all those things. And of course, over the years, you have the reducing number of these guys on the ground.
Why do you think it's being reduced?
Okay, so maybe on this topic, I think is also people do not want to do this kind of work anymore.
Again, why?
Get back to not wanting to have long hours, not wanting to stand in the sun as all that. So as I mean, if you're a parent or whatever, you also do not want your child to do exactly what you do. You want better for them. So as the generation keeps going on, you do realize there's a lot of people who do not want to do that hard work or physical work. At the same time, they also want to have their work-life balance, especially post-COVID. So we don't need to go back 19 years, but we just talk the last 5 years. But at the same time, in their own country, so I'm talking about, let's say India and Bangladesh mainly, they are coming in with a better command of English. They're also coming in with technology that they know. So these boys do TikTok videos. These guys are on Facebook. When they come to, let's say, applications, which is a normal thing now, right? When you give it to them, you teach them 1-2 times, they are very fast to learn and get on board with it. But maybe they don't want to report because there's always a stigma behind, I report, I may get into trouble.
That fear.
That fear is always there. But we need to somehow break that fear down and say, no, you are reporting for the good. You don't, it's very hard. It's easy to say now. Like, you do not go after them because something goes wrong. Something goes wrong because the management made a mistake. It's not they made a mistake. We didn't give them the right tools. So we need to somehow give them that assurance, which is easy to say, but it's very difficult to actually do on the ground.
It is definitely very difficult because I think coming again to your company, I realize that when you have the support of management, I think it's a bit more easier to get it done. But I think when it comes to, even for, say, Khairul, for us, when we were actually deploying guys, let's not even say non-locals, even for locals, we had a lot of resistance from our local guys itself to implement simple thing like to use an app to do inspection. They do not like it. We says that okay, you do not do a hard copy inspection report anymore. I need this inspection to be on an app. They say that no, I don't know how to do it. What's your take on that, Khairul?
They are too comfortable in what they were doing. Something new, they need to adapt, they need to do a change. They just can say this word a little lazy to implement this fact. Why would I have to go through this process, study this thing all over again, and then go through this? I just go with it. I'm very comfortable with this. Why would I want to get out of the zone? And then yes, workload, excessive time. They already got a lot of things to report. Walk around the site, go and inspect. They have to report to the management, and I have to upload this in the app, and then.
How do we change this mindset?
Getting them to realize that eventually this app technology is going to reduce the workload.
Yes, it's not a burden.
Yeah, it's not a burden. End of the day, when you go put in your observations, example, you got 5 work at high observations, and you got 3 housekeeping observations. End of the month, you can easily retrieve the KPI. You don't have to go and literally go and see what is the number of work at observation, or what is the number of housekeeping observation. All this they have to deal with it first. Then they will get the benefit out of it.
Amriq, how do you actually ensure the competency of your supervisors? Do you all have do you all do in-house courses or to make sure that they are actually competent? Since there's such changes from last time, like we said that last time the guys who comes in, they used to be locals in supervisory levels. Now we see that they are not locals, so there will be certain issues like language barrier because for example, the supervisor might be from Bangladesh, but the workers might be from India and from China, example. And then there's going to be this language barrier. How do we actually ensure that, this doesn't affect the work?
I think the first thing we need to do is actually giving them the ownership and also training them to be better leaders. Maybe I'll just share an example what we do, right?
Yeah.
So we do something in our company called like one team. So everything is under the word one team, one BSS and all that. So that's just a company thing. So what we decided to do that, one of the elements was actually one crew. So one crew was actually targeted at frontline supervision.
Okay.
So why we did that? I mean, it's actually mainly from our HR team that actually did it. So we take away the guys out of the work site setting. You bring them to like somewhere. So the last time around, we just went to Raffles Country Club. We got a room, and then the whole day we get a third party to do engagement exercises with them as well. And just to give you that scenario, it gives them an opportunity to share. And throughout the event, we purposely picked out about four to six guys or 8 guys to actually share on certain topics. So they had to come up with slides. They had to come up with topics. They had to come in front of everyone to share, which was something that if you really realize, not many people are given that opportunity. So if you empower them, you make them feel, which we are not trying to make it like a show. It's actually, you are important to us. Whatever you say matters. So you put them up in front, and it's normal. It's a sense of belonging, right? So the more you give them those opportunities, you will realize a lot of ideas are going to be coming out of them. And they ended up in this event, for example, we had team building, and it was designed to give them the opportunity to be the leaders. So instead of having the normal guys who are the general leaders, you get them to be the leader, you get them to do team building exercises, you get them to share a particular topic. But at the same time, it has to go with basics of even how you present and talk to people. So a lot of times when we do toolbox meetings, I'm very sure, and this is an industry problem, they don't even teach them how to talk, which is the most, you are a supervisor now, you go and talk. And you realize they just look at a paper, or they don't, like how your presence matter, like your hand movement, how I look at you guys. Like, I mean, okay, we are doing a relaxed podcast, I'm looking at you, you're looking at me. But it'll be very weird if I'm just sitting here and just looking at a script and talking.
Exactly,
But we don't spend that time to tell them this is how you should talk, because that builds that confidence in them. But we need to spend that time
To groom them.
To groom them. That's the best word to use. To groom them, but it does take time. It's like a learning curve. It will take time. It will suddenly go down a bit, and then you can see the improvement. But you need time, which is what a lot of people do not want to invest, because maybe it's more effort. But you definitely need to do that with them.
All these guys, they are rushing. They have so many things. The supervisors have, not say a KPI, but they have a scope that I need to get this done by this. Why do I want to invest my time looking into this AI thing or technology thing, putting it into an app and and etc. In your experience, do you ever felt that this crew, or not say crew, I mean this team, they are being rushed for work, that's the reason that they are actually lacking on all these technology things that they should be picking up?
I'm not just talking my company. So we also have main contracting, where you have subcontractors as well, right? So if you look at their little ecosystem and see how they work, yes, they are very rushed. They need to do the job. But we have also managed to successfully train them. But it's also having to understand that everything is a curve, where you need to spend that time. The problem is the mentor has to spend time with them, which is tiring. Yes, I understand.
Very.
But it's like what you say, when you got the data, you can quickly see your KPIs. It's actually very fast now. Like now I can whip out my phone, I can see how many near misses were reported in the past month, for example. Previously, I was not able to do that. Of course, the input data is from these guys on the ground. But you need to spend time with them to explain to them, this is your end product. So taking that time and but you have to somehow or rather be a bit more not as tired, and just make sure you go through it, because that curve you have to have that dip before you have that rise again, which I think that industry-wise it can be done.
Definitely your company will have new subcons coming in.
Okay.
They come in maybe initially for smaller works and that kind of thing. Do you had much resistance from new subcons before? I'm sure you would have.
Okay, openly speaking, I've shared this with like the bigger clients that we have, even with government. The resistance we get from the subcontractors now are much lesser than what it used to be. Maybe 10 years ago, you have arguments, shouting, banging
Exactly,
table.
yeah.
That was how I think all of us had to go through all this stress.
Now
they sit down and have an actual conversation with you, and they understand the benefits of following that. And it's not just safety. It comes together with their quality of work and everything. But you also have to realize everything is a give and take scenario. For example, one of my subcontractors in one of the projects, they won a best subcontractor award, because we are a joint venture. So the other joint venture gave them an award. We were there. What was very shocking to us was when the boss himself, the biggest boss, said that my workers are happy to work in your project because people respect them.
Yeah.
People treat them as humans, which is very weird to think, but actually that's the most important thing. And they are given work to do, which is subcontractors. That's what they are, right? They need work to do. And your team is able to plan work for them and everything. So you do realize if you help them in one aspect, they will help you in another aspect. So it does come full circle as well.
Correct. Yeah. We all know that a lot of supervisors, I'm not saying those big projects, those maybe smaller projects, quite a number of those supervisors are actually release workers. Again, we all understand what is the statement release worker. Release workers means that they are actually they are coming from a company, but the company don't give them job. They go and find job by themselves. There's accommodation, everything by themselves, and they pay a so-called like a levy to the employer, and they find a job. So these companies that are working on site actually employ them on a daily basis, pay them a daily pay. So these supervisors who come, you see that a lot of resistance are actually from them because they say that, no lah, I'm only going to be in this site for 2 weeks, only for 1 month. Why I want to go and do all this app thing lah, this and etc. How do we actually stop these guys from actually coming in to ensure that the changes do actually happen?
Our bottom line, the reason why we are all here talking about this workplace safety is the reason is we want to prevent accident, prevent incident. That's our main objective.
Correct.
So touching on the first point just now, Shah, you spoke about supervisors. Are they able to communicate well with the workers and all? And then now the point to me is whether these short-term supervisors doing
that's the right
their due diligence promptly and all that. It comes down to one thing to say that if the supervisors have dedication in their line of work, if they think that they want to get the job done properly, and they feel that must understand that supervisors are the first line of defense.
Definitely, yeah.
In the workplace safety line. So if they were to carry out their due diligence, let's talk about the first topic to Amriq Ali just now, whether communication. If I want to handle, if I'm an Indian supervisor and I'm given China workers to guide and instruct, and daily I communicate and I can't. If I face this challenge, I go to the work site, I find China workers, I cannot communicate with them. I find there is a lapse down there. What I talk, I can't. I can get the Indian workers to comply. I can get the Bangladeshi workers to comply, but I can't get the China workers to comply. It's because the communication breakdown is there. If I am a supervisor and I realize this, then I should voice out to my management and say that I think you should need to engage a China supervisor to handle the China workers. So the communication is very, very important.
The barrier.
The moment it starts from toolbox meeting, work instruction, even during your break time, you sit down, you have a communication, a bonding session. You want to get workers to comply. You want them to follow to a certain requirement. No matter what, they will take shortcuts. So you don't want them to take that shortcut. They want them to follow. You need to have that bonding with them, the communication. You don't have that cuts it off. Number one. Number two, your point about these short-term workers. So the moment they don't feel this dedication, they don't feel that I am coming here, I just want to come and earn this $200 per day for these 10 days and I'm going to go off. That's it. This entire thing goes up. When we as safety guys, we go and ask the supervisor the question, I don't know, I'm just here, temporary supervisor. You need to get to speak to the management.
A lot of site faces this actually.
Yeah, so this has to be eliminated. So starting down from communication, the relationship between the workers and the supervisors is very, very important.
You see, Amriq, when during our seminar, like I told you, I had a couple of guys who actually came up to me. They were actually quite impressed by what you could actually do. Like a few of them told me about this, that the drill thing where you wear it on your back.
Okay.
Yeah. All this kind of thing. So they. And I think they saw the brand, but I can't remember the brand now. What's the brand?
Hilti.
Hilti, correct. So they were like telling me, hey, this one all is super expensive one. No,
Okay.
And they asked me this. How do he actually convince the management? How do he actually make them understand that, okay, I can spend this much of money, it's for the safety, is to make sure that the workers actually gain more skills, more knowledge, more advancement. What advice would you have for these people who are working in companies that do not actually support them in this drive?
Okay, so maybe that was a classic example where we tried something, we spent money but it didn't work.
Okay.
So that was where the resistance came in, right? But now somehow rather slowly it's coming back again. So
when
maybe
it don't work, does it disappoint your management?
actually it disappoints
You personally.
us personally, the ones who are trying to implement it. So when we did this trial, so maybe just specifically talking about how this comes about. So sometimes when we go for all these seminars and all, you get to meet people from different industries even or different lines of work or whatever. And then you also have best practices sharing or even a vendor that's sharing. So a lot of these things come because of that. But we do have a relationship with Hilti where we have told them, hey, we have this problem. Can we discuss about it? So they have come to us when it came to the original EXO where it's just a frame and all that. So they have worked with like a big bus operator in Singapore where they had to do a lot of vertical fixing and drilling work. So that didn't work for our scope of work. So we wanted something horizontal.
Yeah, correct.
Then they came and said, "Oh, there's something developing in Hilti, and then we maybe want to do a trial." So the first thing is that you want to do a trial, come, let's go and do. So a lot of these guys who want to do trials have resistance because nobody wants to do trials with them. I'm like super happy, come, let's do a trial.
Is it heavy? It looks pretty
No,
heavy.
it's not actually. So I suffered from slip disc a while back.
Oh, okay.
So I am confident enough to wear the whole thing, carry the whole drill, and then use it. So yes, you do feel a little bit of pressure on your shoulders, but at the same time, when you imagine you're just carrying a whole tool, which is effortless, pretty much a bit effortless. There's a bit of weight, but there's no overbearing weight lah. But also going to say that, right? You realize that the fastest way to get something done is only, if I'm not mistaken, it's Steve Jobs or someone who said this, or was it Bill Gates? Like the fastest to get some things done is to get the laziest person to do the job because you find the shortest way to get to that destination, right? So recently we so like
Got a lazy
one
person?
of the project, not say lazy, but maybe I'll think between lazy and smart, and maybe the guy suffered in pain. So they had to do some horizontal drilling. They ended up using some pieces of timber and making a little device. And then started doing the horizontal drilling. Okay. And then the thing is, right, so when we spotted it, instead of like telling them off, hey, there's no design and everything, we started working together. We did another one in aluminium with a design. We did another one in aluminium with a design. Then they started doing that drilling. It suddenly became a thing that, hey, why are you not putting it as an innovation or anything? Which is true, it's an innovation. But the whole idea is that guy came up with the idea. And now they are very happy to use it because he came from them. So it didn't come like it's forced, it's a new technology, every charge. These guys, when we started doing the first drilling bit, it was more like they felt it's like if anything goes wrong, the cost, the charging, what can go wrong. And then they started with, okay, why don't you build a frame rather than you use this because it's too cumbersome for us to bring up and down and all that. But now because that other horizontal drill is suddenly their own idea and is working, now we're trying to push this thing again. It's still a thing like, hey, why you don't want to use it?
There are a couple of guys who have approached me and told me that about your drone.
Oh, yes.
So they told me say that no lah, it's not so simple, no drone, because there is a law say that you cannot go above this building, you cannot go above this height, and then he's just saying that you must embrace this technology. It's very difficult. Then in my heart I was thinking, this type of guys always have. So what is your opinion on that?
I think it's also, maybe they also feel that I'm asking the safety guys to do it, become my problem. Because it's mainly safety guys at these seminars. But it's actually something that it does help. Like now even we're shooting this with 4K video and it used to be something that is not easy to get. So your drones have that same capabilities as well. So the where we were shooting, that particular project is in Amriq. If you realize it's just next to the tracks and all that. So you do have to go through the trainings, obviously, your drone pilot has to have the training, and then you have to go through the whole process of CAS, have to give them a timeline, have to tell them when you have to shoot, and there is options. So even if they tell you cannot shoot with a drone that free flies, and something I recently learned is that there's something called even tethered drones as well.
Oh, okay.
So you don't need to actually physically bring something that's at height. And if you actually think about it, the main essence is you want to eliminate what can hide one. So if you realize a lot of the accidents, the very serious accidents are still somehow or other always work comes up to play.
Exactly, yeah.
So if you can somehow or other eliminate a guy having to climb up something or using a man cage or using big scaffold and just a camera just going up and seeing, why not? You will have resistance, I'm not saying no. But it has to be something that it cannot be done by us. So this whole drone flying is completely not done by HSE team. It is done by an engineer. It's done by their own team themselves, the maintenance team. So the engineer flies the drone. The maintenance team reviews the footage. Okay. So you have that little holistic thing without the HSE interference or anyone coming in to do it as well. Licensing, everything is also done by them as well.
I think like what you say, I think maybe the HSE guys are worried. No, hey,
It's
this
not
one
my
also you
problem.
all want to push to me also. Cairo, if you realize, normally this resistance is created by, or you know, they resist by a certain group of people. These are normally those who may be a little older in age and more experience. That means they have been, registered as a safety officer for a few years. Many years. What's your opinion on that? Why do you think it always comes from a certain group of people?
They are the lao chow of the industry lah. So they have it their way. They have it their way, and you want to introduce something to change. Number one, they are afraid of the change.
They are not comfortable with it.
They are not comfortable of it. They won't be able to excel as what they have been doing. They will be thinking that no, I won't be able to adapt to this change. As such, people might overtake me, so they will not want to go to that stage.
Or they feel that they might embarrass themselves. Or something.
Embarrass themselves. So because they've been doing very well, the company has already recognized them for their work, their how they have been doing the job. If I were to do this change, I will not be able to keep up to this standard. So this is the fear they have within them. The number two thing is the fact that if I were to do this, I will not be able to convince my management in getting the job done in a proper way. So it's always they are the one who always have this resistance.
Let's see. Okay, Amriq, how about you? Have you ever encountered someone on the positive side of it? He might be older in age, he might be more experienced, but he's very like you, very pro in advancement, technology, and that kind of thing.
But I can share with you real examples who I'm very blessed that they are part of my team. So I have a safety coordinator who is now like 72. He's still working. He doesn't want to stop. So when he joined my team 10 years plus ago, he was always a ground guy.
Okay.
So when he joined us, we said, okay, start doing SICs. And I'm not joking when I tell you this. He's never done SIC before. He's not done paperwork before. Fast forward, you need anything to be done or any documentation to be found, even if it's online or what, he's the guy you go to. Any audit preparation, we don't even need to prepare. Everything is there, whichever folder. But you have to remember this. 10 years ago, even when technology or everything is there, this man never used to do it before. And another guy who I have, Abang Nasir, who is another Lao Chow guy who we have, the right way to use, when we started using applications at work and all that, he started forcing the younger guys, hey, where's your report? Where's your this? Where's your that? Because he's very much into, hey, where's all of this? This is much faster. What's so difficult to use? So you do have extremes. Like you have people who don't want to embrace it. You have also people who want to embrace it. So like the one who I just shared with you, he's already retired. But if you go into my system, he's still one of the top contributors, when he came to, because we have data from the start of the project. So when it comes to findings, good practice and things, areas for improvement, he's still like one of the top two contributions. So you can imagine that gives them that something different rather than the challenges that you normally face. Yeah. But this, of course, is extremes. There are people, of course, who want to say no to it.
You were saying about younger guy. This actually, I would like to speak a little about these guys. So we have a group of people who are younger in age. They're coming into this industry. Let's say, let's go back to safety again.
Correct.
They're becoming safety coordinators, safety officers. You would have seen that there might be some resistance from them too, even though they are younger.
Correct.
Is there a possibility? Okay, so if they want to become safety officer, you have to go through interviews.
Yes.
Do you think there might be a possibility that people are actually getting marked as competent, but they may not actually really understand really ground how things work on ground, so they are not actually embracing this technology or advancement? Do you think that could be a reason too when it comes to younger guys?
Maybe I'll try and answer it two different ways.
Okay.
So one way is for them to go through the test and all that. So after they get the course, they go through the interview and they come out. My understanding, I cannot guarantee how true it is. Is like they don't pass that many people now because they don't pass the certain criteria or the questions. Then it's also, I feel like for us who might depend on it as our licenses and all that, the barrier to entry is there. But somehow or other, you are having people who come in who don't have that competence. Maybe they present well or they are able to do exams well. Maybe they just digest everything. But the delivery on the work is another extent. But also on that front, we are also having officers who I think they are competent. But there's also a challenge because the younger ones who I'm talking about is maybe guys in their 30s even, or even early 40s. they are a bit of a challenge for us to even employ them. Because the industry hasn't matured to different cultural norms where you work 5 days or you have a lesser working hours. Our work sites, if you drive anywhere in Singapore or you take your train, you go anywhere, the sites are running 24 hours.
Yep.
So you need people who have that responsibility. But these guys come to us in interviews and no, I only want to do 8 to 6 or I want to do a certain time and can I do 5-day work week? And if I have people who come and tell me that no, because weekends I am doing something else. Or another guy who even says that can I do 1 day work from home? Which is now no longer a norm for our industry. It's going to go back. But you would be surprised the numbers of us seeing these guys are increasing exponentially, which is also a bit scary. That means the only way for you to embrace it, it's for the industry to change, which we know it will take time. And it's not just HSE, it's also engineers. And that is the
Supervisors.
guys you need. And they are the ones who are saying, no, I'm not interested. I only want to do 5 days.
Yeah, Khairul, I think you would relate much to it because when we try, say for even on our end on work sites, we try to input some form of technology, be it mobile apps or be it drones or etc. And we have these younger guys. So firstly, you always feel that you got this resistance from them. They are like, no lah, Khairul, I'm not very sure how to do this and that kind of thing. And then you had always feedback to me also say that they are not really interested to learn about how this goes about. And like what Amriq was saying, they are more keen on always asking, okay, what time can I finish work today? I can't come back on Saturday, Sundays if there's urgent jobs and that kind of thing. How are you going to push it to them then?
I personally think that it all down to dollars and cents, money. So if we were to reimburse them accordingly, maybe the skill, like just now Amriq was also mentioning that the supervisors is landscape, the changes in the last time it used to be a lot of Singaporean Malaysians, now we're seeing a lot of foreigners in this line. Getting them back, staying long hours under the sun, and your point on whether to adapt to all these changes.
Remuneration.
If this industry can look into that fact that supervisors, HSE guys are an important role to prevent incident, accident, appreciate that and reimburse them accordingly, pay them good package, there might be a change in this. So if you were to pay them accordingly, there might be a change in this that they will be willing to adapt to all these changes. Just now you were talking about the number of observation in the app not reaching the standard the management wants unless we intensify. So it all boils down to money. If we can reimburse them, if we can give them incentives and all that, definitely there will be a change. This is what I feel.
So before we actually come to the end of the episode, I would just like to ask you, do you actually have anything that you would like to explain or you would like to tell to the viewers? A parting word for them which might actually benefit them.
The parting words would be, I think we need to embrace change. I think the topic kind of went there. But at the same time, as leaders, we also have to look at the changing landscape of the various supervision we have, the various people we have on the ground. So it doesn't matter locals or non-locals. So you are going to have a challenge. So you have to empower the guys who are running your work sites. You also may have to adapt to the younger generation that is actually coming into the industry. To me, I think we are blessed that they want to come into in our industry because I think we don't pay them that well compared to other industries. But at the same time, we need to find ways that they find benefits from being here. So it's also a big challenge. And of course, the whole thing, I love the whole idea of bringing technology in and all. Spend a little bit of time to look at things that you can do to improve. But you need to go with why you're even doing it in the first place. And the why is actually what you said earlier. We don't want incidents, we don't want accidents. So how do you bring things or tools or technology or trainings to them that they can actually use for the benefit of the workplace, benefit of them as well?
So Amriq, to sum it up, what do you think would be the future of the industry, the workplace safety and health?
So if you look at it like 10 years from now, for example, with the way technology is changing, AI is changing, it is definitely going to improve for the better. So we have to ourselves just be prepared for all those changes. So robotics, computing and everything that's going
Drone.
to especially those two things. So we have to embrace it. At the same time, just if HSC guys who want to be in the industry, just take your time to pick up what is happening, embrace the change at the same time. Rather than resist it, embrace the change, and then it's easier than it's more difficult. Just remember that technology is there to help you. It's not going to be like a Terminator environment. So it's there to help you. It's there to make things better for you and also better for everyone in the work sites.
And not to replace you, I guess.
Yes, and that's what they should not fear. It's not there to replace you.
Yeah, and I think also the one key point that you say, how to bring it about, being the salesman, that was very important, because I think a lot of them have this issue of not being able to convince the management. Like I told you, I get a couple of guys who come in. The first thing they told me is that, hey, how did this Amriq manage to actually explain to his management that, this is expensive, that kind of thing. So I think you might be a very good salesman actually, Amriq.
I think maybe I should run a course on how to be a salesman for safety or something.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I think we actually have come to the end of the episode. Of course, Khairul and I thank you once again for being part of this episode. Indeed a pleasure, because at the end of the day, we are actually having this kind of episode just for the viewers to understand that and learn whatever that is on ground and etc.
Thank you, Amriq Ali. It was a very good topic that you chose. I think the viewers will definitely benefit from this. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much, Sajahan. Thank you, Khairul, for having me. And I hope that the topic does benefit and the guys are actually excited by it and maybe do something and make a change on the work sites.
Okay. Hi all, we have come to the end of this episode, The Changing Landscape of Supervision. Do feel free to actually like, share, subscribe to our channels. At the same time, if you feel that you would want us to speak about a topic, do feel free to write in to us. Till then, see you guys.